Today's special guest is Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop, and she's here to show us how to make a Jack and Jill travel pillowcase. So welcome, Kimberly.
Thank you for having me today.
Well, I'm so excited to make this travel pillowcase, and you named it Jack and Jill because it's good for boys and girls, right?
Yeah.
And all kids love pillowcases, so tell me how you made this project.
Okay, so first you need 3 contrasting fabrics. The first fabric is your body fabric, and you cut this 16 by 28 and a half. And it's a directional print, so you want to make sure your fabric
So it faces this way.
And so if it's a directional print, you need 7/8 of a yard.
Okay,
And if it's
a little wider.
because you cut across the width. And if it's a non-directional, you only need 5/8 of a yard.
Okay.
And then for the cuff, you're going to want to cut the cuff at 8 inches by 26 and a half.
Okay.
And then you need 11 squares that are 3.5 inches for your prairie points.
Okay, great. And I love how the prairie points give a good accent to this pillow.
Yeah, they really pop out.
Very nice. Okay.
So what you'll do is the first thing you want to do is make your prairie points. To make your prairie points, you want to fold in half once, press, and then you want to fold it one more time and press again to get a perfect triangle. And you're going to do that 11 times.
Okay. Give it a good steam. We're almost all done.
Yeah, and you want them all the way flat on the very edge. If they're not flat, they might stick out either on the front of the pillow or the back. So you want to try to iron as slow and carefully as possible.
Get it done right the first time. So you're going to lay your prairie points all along here.
Yes, we're gonna move the body of the fabric first, a little bit out of the way. And right now we're gonna put the cuff face up. And we're going to just, before we pin anything, we're gonna just layer your prairie points all the way across. And you're gonna overlap approximately 1/2 inch on each prairie point. I like them to overlap when the pillowcase is shown so they're not exactly pointing. And it's very important at the front and the end you want to line up your prairie point exactly on the edge. So we'll just lay them out, and then when we get it perfect, we will
start
pin.
pinning. Yeah, you can make some adjustments along the way, but it's good to have everything laid out.
Yeah. So you see at the end we have a little bit of room, so we'll just scooch them down a little bit. As long as they're uniform and, approximately about the same amount apart, it will look fine when it's finished. Yep, and that looks great. So what I do now is I pin twice in each prairie point. It's very important when you make this pillowcase to pin in all of the steps, and this will take a little bit extra time, but your pillowcase will come out a lot better looking, I think.
Once you get everything tacked down, it's much easier to sew, isn't it?
Yeah.
Things won't adjust.
Okay, so you've got everything pinned now.
Looks good.
And this step is actually very important. The body of your fabric should face to the right.
Okay.
And then we're going to lay the body face down on top of what you've just done. And we're going to pin.
Okay. We're pinning on just...
Yep, so we're going to actually unpin what we already pinned and just pin it back so that there's one extra layer. And we're going to still pin twice in every prairie point all the way across. And it's important just on the right and the left to make sure these points are even on the edge. And this is going to really help us when we sew this together, since there's so many layers. Having this many pins really helps scoot it together, I guess, or get it
all stabilized.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Keep everything in its spot.
So now this next part of this pillowcase I learned from American Patchwork and Quilting. They call it the Roll It Up method, and they've got a free pattern on their website to show you how to do this. And what this is going to do is hide your seams, so you'll have no raw edges. You're just going to roll up the body until you get halfway up the cuff.
Okay.
And then we're going to pull the bottom of the cuff to the top and unpin and repin one more time.
Okay. I've never done this method, so this is good. And it's going to hide all those seams, isn't it?
And then when we're done, we're going to flip it out, and so you'll never see the seam. So now that we've pinned, what we're going to do is we're going to stitch from end to end, and we're going to use a wide stitch length, like 2.5 to 3 inches, since it's very thick, and so if you don't do that, it will be hard to sew through. And we're also going to use 3/8 of an inch seam on this step.
All right, let's take it to the machine and sew. All right, we got that all sewed.
Yeah, so now what we're going to do is we're going to flip out the pillowcase, and you're just going to open it. You just kind of pull it a little bit, and it just comes right out.
Just waiting inside.
Yep. So when you open, you'll have a little bit of wrinkleness, and that's quite okay. And what you're going to want to do is just make sure you caught all your prairie points, and what we're going to do next is iron. And I found that when you iron from the back, it works a lot better, and you just kind of put this down flat.
Make sure your prairie points are tucked under.
Yeah, and I kind of press with my hand a little bit, press out, and then I'm just going to press on the back, press out, and then turn it over a little bit, and then press from the front, and just kind of do that all the way down, so that you
make
have.
Sure you're pulling those seams.
And that way you also get a really clean seam here. Just do that all the way across.
And actually, you could even do a top stitch on that other side when you were done, too.
Yes, that would be really nice. And this just looks so professional with no seam.
Yes. And a lot of people who don't own a serger, this is a great way to have finished seams without the need to even have a serger.
That's perfect. So, let's see. Yeah, and you're going to want to iron the body of the pillowcase too to get everything really flat, because we're going to trim next, and you want to have everything really nice and ironed. So we're going to take this back to the cutting mat. And this is going to sound really odd, but you're going to put your wrong sides together, not your right sides.
Because you're going to teach us a different method of finishing
Yes.
the outside.
Yes, we're going to finish this with a French seam.
And French seams are, I've seen them a lot in dresses, but this is a great idea to use for a pillow.
So here, if you needed to, you could trim if it's not 100% straight, but it actually looks pretty straight. So let's just pin.
Okay.
And we're just going to pin all the way on the outside. And that should be good. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to sew. And it's really important to start at this point of the pillow, the cuff. You're going to sew all the way to the end and pivot, and then you're going to sew to the other end. And this makes sure that it doesn't wrinkle, so starting here is really important. And here we're going to use 1/8 of an inch.
Okay.
So that we can hide it on the next step.
And you don't need to make it such a big stitch because you're turning it inside out. So, all right. Okay, let's go sew.
Okay.
Well, that was easy enough to do. So what's our next step?
We're going to finish the French seam, which is going to hide all of your seams in your pillowcase, which is great for kids since you're going to be washing this so much.
Good idea.
So we're going to turn the pillowcase wrong sides out. And we're going to kind of point the points out. And on this step, you're going to want to iron everything very flat around these edges because you're going to be sewing on
Right
here
along
and it's
there.
going to hide your seam. So you're going to want to press all the way across and just press everything really flat. So I just kind of pull the seams forward and just press. And we're going to sew. Let's see. So once we get everything pressed, we're going to again start stitching in this corner on the cuff. You're going to stitch a 1/4 inch starting at the cuff to the corner. You're going to pivot and you're going to come to the end. And on this step we're going to back stitch to secure in the beginning
Reinforce.
and the end.
Okay, and that 1/4 inch is going to hide our 1/8 inch seam on the
Yes.
inside. Okay, great. Let's go finish. So our pillow's all finished. We just need to turn inside out.
Yeah, we're all done. It was quick and easy. It's a quick project to make.
And we just need, this is a smaller travel size pillow, so we just need a 12 by 16 pillow to put inside.
Yeah, it's a standard size. You can find at any store.
And that was easy to do, and it looks fantastic, and I love it. It's a great project.
Yeah, I was inspired to do this from the American Patchwork and Quilting 1 Million Pillowcase Challenge. If anyone's interested in that program, check out their website for more details.
So, great project, and thanks so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thank you, and we hope all of you will make a pillow for a child in your life.